Detail, hold. Left face. Everyone, get me seated. You have to be seated. Right, sorry, you can be seated.
Good evening. I just want to take a real brief moment and welcome you to our promotional ceremony this evening for our 10th Police Chief, Richard Howe. It's an exciting night. Grateful to see all of you here. It's a great show of community, which we love about Tyngsborough, is that we stand behind each other. So again, just want to welcome you and thank you for your patience this evening. We have many of our officers out in the portico, if you can probably gather around so you can see and hear what we have going on. And I apologize, but we probably have no more seats inside. And if I could just ask you to all stand while Selectman Lamb leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Present arms.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order arms. Honor Guard detail, post. Ceremony parade brisk. Everyone else can be seated.
Thank you. I do just want to take a minute, too, to welcome our, we have several guests here this evening. We have Representative Gary, thank you for coming. We have former Chief John Michelli here. Chief Chronopoulos is also here. Our current chief, Bill Mulligan, is here. So it's a great evening. We have 40% of our police chiefs in the office here. So just want to note, too, we stood here not too long ago. Bob Jackson stood before you as we promoted the lieutenant to the deputy chief. And we stood here before you, and we praised, and we had put accolades before you, and we're here again doing those same things. And it's a wonderful opportunity for us. Just want to go through a little bit of our incoming chief's accomplishments. He joined the force back in 1995 as a patrol officer. In 1999, he moved to patrol sergeant. As patrol sergeant, he was the firearms licensing administrator, the liquor licensing investigator, and the field training supervisor. Always keeping busy, I guess. Moved on to Detective Sergeant in 2010, where he was head of the Criminal Investigations Bureau, accreditation, grant administrator, Deputy Director of Emergency Management, and then he moved to Detective Lieutenant in 2011. I think he probably has the shortest tenure for Deputy Chief, lasting just a few months, and now we're here before you this evening to promote to Chief. He did start his career as a patrol officer in the town of Bethlehem, Vermont. And what always presses me about Rich, when you think about, Chief Howe, you think about all he's accomplished, how far he's come, and as he's done it, he's furthered his career. He got his bachelor's, he got his master's, he got his law degree. Back in school again now to get public policy, just constantly improving himself, constantly moving towards self-improvement. And that self-improvement is what has him here today, has him with the full support of the Board of Selectmen as he moves forward and becomes our next chief. As we move forward through our program, I would like to invite up Representative Gary to say a few words.
Thank you. It is my honor to be here today to welcome the fourth chief that I've worked with over the last 20 years. It certainly has been an honor to work with Chief Chronopoulos, Chief Maselli, and Chief Mulligan, and now I really look forward to working with you, Rich. I've been able to see your work over the years in the department, and I know that the support that you have among the men and women of this department and the men and women of this community, I know that you will lead with distinction, you will lead with kindness and compassion for those in need, and you will be a very strong leader for this community. I offer you all my assistance that I can provide, and I look forward to seeing you progress. Maybe one of these days you're going pretty fast. I'll see you as Secretary of Public Safety or something in the Commonwealth. Let's keep that an option, all right? So best wishes to you and your family, and it's a great day for Tyngsborough because we have another great chief coming on board. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Representative. We're going to move the floor to our retired chief, Charles Chronopoulos, who served this great community from 1981 to 1997. Chief?
Well, hello, everybody. I'm very happy to be here and speak in behalf of Richard Howe, our new chief of police in Tyngsborough. 17 years ago, I met him. He came into the police station for an interview, and I asked him a lot of stupid questions, and he gave me a lot of stupid answers. So basically, what I was looking for was a young man that was intelligent, good-mannered, treated the public well, and was tough enough to go into one of our bar rooms and break up a fight. Well, I didn't make up my mind right away because I said to Richard, come on and sit down. Before he sat down, he shook my hand. Well, if you ever shook his hand, you know you got to let it ring for a while because he's almost breaking it. So I said, this kid's pretty tough. So I said to him, you know, maybe you ought to think about going in the Marine Corps, because he was coming from another police department down to us. And we got talking, and my ideas and his ideas were basically the same. And he assured me that he would work hard, treat the public well, and bring some nice people to the police department, and he would do a good job. And I believed him, because the questions I asked him, he was all, we used to do, people always talked about going to their neighborhoods and patrolling, neighborhood watches, whatever. I always felt that the police should do the policing and not the average citizen. So basically, him and I agreed that our position was to keep the cruisers rolling, keep them out in the field, and if they needed you, the public, you were there for them. And I can honestly say that Richard Howe is a good person. He's a good family man, and he has knowledge and patience, and he's educated enough to handle this position. The only thing I can say is I think Tyngsborough is winning out here. I really do. And I think that Almighty God will give you the strength, courage, knowledge, and patience you will need in the future.
Thank you very much, Chief. And I guess thank you very much for hiring our newest chief. You had the thought and the foresight back all those years ago to do that for us. Next for us this evening is retired Chief John Michelli. Chief?
Thank you, Karen. Well, it's nice to see everybody, and it's so nice to say congratulations to an officer, a sergeant, a lieutenant, a deputy chief who worked so hard in his career to move forward. And a special congratulations to Dad. Very, very few fathers are privileged enough to be in law enforcement than to have a son move up the ranks and become chief. So congratulations to you also. You know, I was thinking, what does it take to become a police chief? And everything I thought about, Rich Howe has done. I remember when I first started, came on as chief, Rich came to me, he said, Chief, what do I need to do to move forward? And we talked for quite a bit, and we talked about different positions, education, dedication to the town. Then I started thinking, I said, well, let me think about what Rich has done through his career. And Karen, you touched on it. I made some notes. He started out in Vermont as a K-9 officer, came here, Charlie hired him as patrol officer. He went on to be a liquor licensing agent for the Board of Selectmen. And trust me, that was a job that really nobody wanted. And Rich took it on, and he took it on really well. He did good investigations, and we relied on him. He became a grant writer and a grant administrator. He wrote some great grants. He administrated them, selective enforcement grants for one. He became a patrol sergeant, and a damn good one. He became a field training officer. And I can tell you that I talked to officers, and they look back. I can remember my field training officer when I first started. It's so, so important that you start out the right way, and Rich did that. Rich took it a step further. He became the officer in charge of field training. He went off to school, came back, and taught other officers how to be field training officers. He became a detective and a detective sergeant. Okay, did real good investigations, good reports. He was promoted to lieutenant, deputy chief, and now chief. You know, I congratulate Rich, your family. Congratulations. It's a very, very proud moment for you. I congratulate the officers of Tyngsborough. You now have one of your own. That is police chief. That's great. I also congratulate the citizens of Tyngsborough. You have one great chief here. So congratulations to everybody.
So we have with us tonight also Chief William Mulligan, who will just absolutely come up. No, come on up. He's quick. I served on the Board of Selectmen when Chief came to join us, and as he's soon to be retired, I think we all owe him a big thank you for where we've come in the last 6 years, and very much appreciate his service.
Enough. Thank you for that, by the way. Anybody want to buy a uniform? Over the years, I've worked very close with Rich Howe, and one of the things I became very used to was him walking in my office, looking at me and going, "Chief, can I shut the door?" I knew that meant that we were about to have a discussion of something I had done, a policy or procedure that he may not agree with, or he was about to tell me something we should be doing that we weren't doing. And we had a running joke. I said, "That's fine." I said, "That's fine, but remember, it's all about me." Well, tonight, guess what? It's all about you. When I started in the police department, and it'll be 6 years ago this July, I went out with all the officers, I talked to the officers, and I asked the officers what they wanted. And when I met with Rich, he wanted to professionalize the police department. He wanted to take the department where it had never been before. And I challenged him. I said, "Well, listen," I said, "if we're going to do that, I need your help." And one of the things we talked about was accreditation. And I knew that people were scared of this. It was something they hadn't done before. And, you know, change is funny. It's a tough thing, and people were resistant. And at that time, he was a sergeant. And to have a sergeant step up and do this, and he was our accreditation manager, was difficult because there was pressure, because people were scared, and I understood that. It's one thing for the chief to do it, but it's another for a sergeant to do it. And within 3 years, we were able to become state certified. We were the 38th police department in the state of Massachusetts to become state certified. There are 350 cities and towns in the state, and we became the 38th. I received calls from chiefs afterwards saying, "How did you get certified?" I said, "Well, what you got to do is you got to find a guy in your department that's willing to work. He's got to be able to take a lot of guff. He can't be stressed out by what happens, and he has to be strong and do it." And you know what they said? "Well, I don't have anybody like that." When the opportunity came, and we had a detective sergeant's position open, I knew where we were going. I asked Rich to step up and be a detective sergeant. Not only did he step up, he did what he always did. He challenged me. He said, "Chief, we don't have enough people to do evidence collection." So he came up with a plan. And the plan was, we had one officer who was very good at it. Let's increase our evidence collection team. Let's train these officers. And, you know, money being tight, I challenged him. I said, "Let's find the money." We found a grant. We put an evidence collection team together. Narcotics investigation. We knew we weren't meeting our goals. He's in charge of criminal. He said, "Chief, I think I've identified 2 guys who can do narcotics investigations." Those 2 men have been very successful. They put a number of investigations together. This is the guy that came to the chief and said, "We can do it." He was always telling me what we could do, not what we couldn't do. I sat in this room the night he was interviewed for lieutenant. And I'm not his father, but I felt like a proud father that night. I remember the questions that when they asked Rich, what have you done? What have you done to prepare yourself for this position, and what have you done to improve the police department? He spoke for about a half an hour, and everything he said was true. Everything he said was true. And I thought to myself, this guy could be chief. Not this soon, but this guy could be chief. And when the time came and they asked me who my top pick was as a lieutenant, Rich Howe. When the time came and they asked me who should be deputy chief, you seeing a pattern here? I said Rich Howe. I'm very, very proud tonight to say the guy replacing me is a professional law enforcement officer. He's committed to this community. He will be committed to the police department. Every officer here is happy that he's coming in. I spent 33 years in the police department. I was the first chief to come up through the ranks. I was lucky enough to come here, but I always knew that I wasn't one of them. You grow with a department. Rich Howe has grown. He is their chief. He's the guy who started, and I'm going to challenge you one more time, Chief. Make somebody out there, and there'll be chiefs out there, not chiefs, chiefs. Start the process today. I can't be prouder to say, congratulations, Chief Howe. Welcome to the club.
Our next speaker this evening is Chief Howe's father, retired Bill Record Detective Richard Howe.
Chief, congratulations on your appointment of police chief. As your father, I stand beside you today with great pride at the man you have become, and I have complete confidence in the chief of police you will be. You've always considered the town of Tyngsborough to be an extension of your family, and as a brother police officer, I know that leadership is everything when it comes to your department. I encourage you to always remain the police officer you are, and to continue to put in the work each day and every day that which resulted in your appointment as chief of police. The Tyngsborough Police Department, as well as the town of itself, is in great hands today.
So now is the official part of the whole thing. If I can invite our chiefs up and our new chief's family, please. We will do the official pinning, and we're going to give it a minute so that it's actually good photo ops. We do want to have that too. And Chief, we want to have you too, so you can hear it on the mic.
Yep, I don't know where Ronnie wants to set up.
Yep. Mr. Camille? I'm all set. He's good. Okay. Do you want to be behind him? Chief Chronopoulos? I got everybody? Everybody good? How are you? Good, how are you? Good. Okay. Can you come closer to the mic for me so we can hear you? Okay. You guys gotta raise your right hand, please. I, Richard D. Howe,
I, Richard D. Howe,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully and impartially
that I will faithfully and impartially
discharge the duties incumbent on me
discharge the duties incumbent upon me
as Chief of Police
as Chief of Police
of the Police Department
of the Police Department
of the Town of Tyngsborough,
of the Town of Tyngsborough,
according to the best of my ability
according to the best of my ability
and understanding,
and understanding,
agreeably to the rules
agreeably to the rules
and regulations of the Constitution and regulations of the
and
Constitution
regulations of the Constitution
and the laws of the Commonwealth,
and laws of the Commonwealth,
so help me God.
so help me God. The good news is I did not write a speech, so this is going to be brief. I want to thank everybody. I couldn't be more humbled or proud to be here. And there's a lot of people that I would like to thank. Obviously, I'd like to thank the board for the way they've treated me and the department through this big transition that we've been going through for the last 6 months. The town administrator, the assistant town administrator, everybody here, people in the community have been extremely supportive of me. My police officers in the department especially have really shown their professionalism. It's just been an unbelievable experience for me, and the support I've received within the department has been extraordinary. My family, I'd like to thank my family for being here for me and being there for me, especially my wife, putting up with a lot of bad hours and a lot of other things through the years, and thank you. There's one person here that is most influenced me and how I got here, and I would like to thank my father. My father has not had it easy in several different ways, and he has shown me grit and determination, can overcome obstacles. Hard work wins out, and I got that from him, and that's worth more than any law degree or any other degree that you can get, and I'll forever be grateful. So. And I want to thank the chiefs, Chief Konopoulos, Chief Michelli, and Chief Mulligan. Again, I wouldn't be where I am, and the police department wouldn't be where we are. And all three of these men have dedicated themselves to this job and have got the town where it is, as well as me personally. And thank you very much for coming. I hope you're all going to come to the Stonehenge later and relax and enjoy some time together. Thank you very much.